And we're back. Um, so to finish my thought is just so you don't really know how to feel about it, but I guess again, for certain movies, you have to kind of push out of your mind certain elements if you want to watch it. The first movie had, because Chris Columbus added that element, there was that moment of empathy that you have for the quote unquote villainous character that really wasn't the villain. The two robbers were, yes, but yeah, you feel for him at the end, and so that was a good addition to the film, which I had no clue that Chris Columbus didn't get a credit for that. But moving on into the second Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. I for some reason, of course, because being a New Yorker, you see elements, landmarks of New York. You're gonna gravitate to the film. And I enjoyed it just as much as I did the first one. It was different. It wasn't the traditional setting of his home, but rather Kevin gets lost in New York. We know the story, I hope. But this time around, the parents they're positively sure that they're bringing Kevin along, and now instead of going to Paris, they're going to Florida, leaving from Chicago. Again, always running late, but nonetheless, they've thought they've secured him and secured that he's on the flight, and then don't realize until they're at baggage claim that Kevin was not on board. He was at the airport, but just so happens to board the wrong plane, and he heads to New York while they're in, I believe, Tampa, Florida. So we start the broken record all over again. So, quick synopsis. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, is a 1992 American comedy film directed by Chris Columbus and written and produced by John Hughes, another one. It is a sequel to Home Alone 1990 and is the second film in the Home Alone franchise. The film stars Macaulay Culkin. Well, we know the cast. But this version has now Macaulay Culkin, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, John Hurd, Tim Curry. And again, I don't know if I've stressed enough my love for Tim Curry on this channel, but I think I make some references to him during Halloween. And of course, because his name is synonymous with the Rocky Horror Picture Show. But I want to say that soon after I did my Halloween spectacular special. I just have to say it in that voice because it just makes it more fun. And I'll link some of the videos down below if you want to watch and all see my makeup looks for Halloween. I really fell down a rabbit hole when it came to searching more of his previous work. Tim Curry, he was a stage actor that transitioned into films and TV shows and whatnot. But I don't know. I don't think Tim Curry gets the credit that he so deserves. And I mean, he honestly was like this. He's still alive, so I don't mean like past tense, in the sense that. But when he was younger, he was definitely that triple threat. He could sing, he could dance. Having all that stage experience, he was able to transition that lovely into films, popular films that again were a part of pop culture. Clue, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, a number of other and if it wasn't for his presence, his stage presence, his features, how expressive he is in the eyes, in the face, and he made those characters what they were and why he's so beloved. Especially in this film, I thought he was so incredibly talented and comedic. He hit those marks perfectly. Tim plays the concierge from at the time, of course, Kevin's character finds his way to the best hotel in New York City, the Plaza Hotel, and they really honestly could have just like nixed the presence of, I will not mention his name, but the last president, supposed president, administration, he was in that film. because at the time he was the owner of the plaza. I don't know who the owner is now, but they could have really done without. But anyway, he of course makes it to the most expensive hoity-toity hotel of New York, and a lot of people come to New York specifically because they want to stay at that hotel if you can afford it. And so Tim's character plays a concierge who has his doubts about Kevin's stay, the fact that Kevin is the one that somehow he was able to get the reservation. And at the time, you can see, this is why I'm saying these films are time capsules, because you can see the technology of that time. Today, there's so many voice apps, I'm sure, that can exaggerate your voice, but then you had to like rely on tape, audio tape. And at the time, it was a big thing because it was like a portable tape recorder with this little stick, and it had a little microphone. So he was able to kind of slow down the tape so he sounded like he was his father, a mature adult. And he used his fat dad's credit card so he can book in a reservation. So as he's checking in, Tim Curry's character is already on the, what is going on here.
Complimentary suite while you're here. It's a penthouse with a view of the park. I think you'll find it satisfactory. It was recently vacated by the Countess of Worcestershire.
What kind of hotel?
It's his emphasis and the way he kind of like, even when he speaks, he has these little quirks when he does it. I just love Tim Curry. He plays Mr. Hector. And of course, his character is very similar to The Grinch That Stole Christmas, but just a human version of that. His sidekick, Cedric, is played by Rob Schneider, and again, another SNL alum. Again, if you remember all these characters and actors from the 90s, it really pulls at your heartstrings. Hold on a second. This scene.
Thank you. I don't think it's a good idea for you. There's the parasites out there, armed to the teeth. Do bundle up. It's awfully cold outside.
I love that scene, and there's so many other scenes that are really great in this film, featuring him in particular. And if I am the first to admit, yeah, when I see this film, especially when I was like out of high school, maybe my first year in college, and this movie would come on, oh my God, every time I see the cookies, I wanted a cookie. I don't know why. Or I wanted some hot cocoa. Something about the film triggers me so that I can just be like, I need some chocolate chip cookies, or I need some double fudge chocolate chip cookies. And at the time, yes, my school, I remember when we'd have banquets, they'd have a bunch of soft double fudge white chocolate chip. Oh, even thinking about it now. But anyway, yes. But the emphasis again with the BB gun and stuff, which makes it a little on the cringy side. But those are a few of the elements. Obviously, he's in New York. He gets into mischief. He finds one of the most biggest toy stores in New York. But it really isn't, because at the time, I believe FAO Schwarz was one of the biggest, aside from maybe Macy's. But really, FAO Schwarz was really the biggest toy store. Perhaps they couldn't get the rights to film in there, or whatever the case may be, so they kind of created another toy store. And we meet more characters, and of course Joe Pesci, his criminal comrade. Hold on a second. Daniel Stern, who plays Merv. And if he sounds familiar, he was the voice for the Wonder Years. He did the voiceover for however long that series lasted. But yeah, he was a great actor as well. And so here we have Harry and Merv trying to steal, toys and money from a toy store. And here's Kevin trying to save the day. But it's not through the house. Now he finds an address for an uncle and somehow lures them both stray away from the toy store. And again, danger ensues for them both, for the both criminals. And they are caught. He makes a new friend from Central Park, which I never understood, though, because she was like a homeless bird lady, I think. And I mean, not in every case are you going to be able to help people, but I believe In Living Color made reference to this movie back in the day. If you haven't watched In Living Color, it's on YouTube. It was a very popular comedy show that kind of rivaled SNL back in the day. And there was a reference to that in a skit where, like, she's homeless. She could have used money. She could have used a home. And Kevin just kind of, like, brings her two plastic turtle doves that he was gifted from the toy owner. And I'm like, that was kind of wonky. And then he goes back to his very posh life, posh hotel where he's staying with his family. And I was kind of like, well, that was kind of messed up. So I don't know. And you know, that was it for me. I didn't really watch past Home Alone 2, so I don't know how 3, and I don't know if they created more, but for me, it kind of ended there. Maybe at some future point I'll check them out, but there's that. But I hope this also leads to my new discovery, and I believe I saw this film last year around Christmas time, and I'm very surprised that there wasn't enough people who reviewed it. So this was on Netflix, and the film is called Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey. Now, if you haven't watched this film, I mean, it is overwhelmingly stacked with a bevy of Afro-American actors. Talented heavyweights are in this movie. Forrest Whitaker, for heaven's sake, Oscar winner, who plays I think his name is Jingle Jangle. I'm not sure. No, Geronicus, but they call him Jerry in the film. Um, Felicia Rashad, Mrs. Claire Huxtable. You know, again, we know the issues with also that, but that's another thing. I said I don't want to politicize my channel, but that's a heavyweight. Anika Noni Rose plays Jessica. She's also a Broadway baby. She's been known on Broadway stages, and she was also, I believe, one of the Dream Girls. That played alongside Beyonce and Jennifer Hudson, who won the Oscar that year. Incredible cast. Ricky Martin is in the film. He plays the villain. And not for nothing, I'm not sure a lot of people know that Ricky Martin was on Broadway in the 90s. He was a big sensation and made his debut in Les Miserables in the early 1990s. I think it was like soon after he was on General Hospital for a while. I know that his Latin American career had taken off, but he was, I think, kind of moving into the transition to the American market. So he has, I mean, of course, he's a singer and a stage presence, but it just would make sense. A lot of singers are able to transition into Broadway musicals because, hello, they have the talent. So he's in it. I'm so surprised that not enough people are maybe perhaps aware of this movie. Such a really good, well-made movie. Here's a little small background. Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey. During a recent interview with IndieWire, Talbert, I guess that's the creator, said that the inspiration for the film came after failing to share some of his own favorite family musicals, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, with his 4-year-old son. And there are elements of the main character played by Forrest Whitaker, who there are emphases. I thought I was seeing things, but there are emphases of him appearing kind of like Willy Wonka, like the traditional one, not the Johnny Depp version, but there are those are certain elements for sure. So just in case you don't have any information on this movie, Jingle Jangle: A Christmas Journey is a 2020 American Christmas musical fantasy film written and directed by David E. Talbert. So I was right.